Thank you, everybody, for joining here as we honor and celebrate Brendan Looney, who would have turned 40 today. So what we're going to do is Father Damien is going to lead us in prayer, which is only right that we would start that way. And then Kevin is going to say a few words. And then what I'm going to do is we'll open up the floor. So we've done this now several times. So what we're going to ask everyone to do, though, is mute yourself. If you can mute. Make sure you're muted, please. Can you mute if you know how to mute yourself? Like Mary Maloney, I'm looking at you right now. Do you know how to mute yourself?
I'm trying.
Okay, that's good. And then, so if you would like to, we could have multiple toasts here. That's what this is all here to do. You message me in the corner there, and I'll write down your name, or you could text me. My cell number here is 301-655-5650. I'll give that again, 301-655-5650. So if you would like to speak, just either text me or send a message. Now keep in mind, sometimes the messages come through fast and furious. So if I don't call on you, feel free to say, hey, Tom, this is the third time. I want to say something, and don't feel bad about doing that, because we will get to everybody who wants to say something. And we have a couple things we're going to do here at the beginning, as I said, and then we'll open it up. Kevin and I spoke. If there's any lulls, Kevin and I can certainly fill the void. And happy to do that. But this is a great showing. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. And I also got to give a nod to Ben Flary, class of 11, DeMatha staff member, who is helping us run this Zoom event. Ben runs these Zoom things and hosts them generally on Thursdays at noon and does a wonderful job. But the Brendan Looney story is so close and near and dear to my heart that I asked to take this one over tonight. So we've got everyone muted, and without further ado, we're going to call on Father Damien, who will lead us in prayer. Father?
Thank you. Birthdays are important remembrances for family members and friends. Today, we remember the birthday of our loved one, Brendan Looney. So we pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, before we came into being, you knew us as we were being formed in our mother's womb. Today, we remember your son and our DeMatha brother, Brendan, whose brief life impacted so many people and still does to this day. We thank you for the blessing he continues to be for others, and for his being an example of a faith-filled gentleman and scholar, which we challenge DeMatha students to embrace. He brought honor and prestige to his family, the United States Naval Academy and the Navy SEALs, as well as to his alma mater, DeMatha Catholic High School. On this his 40th birthday, may Brendan enjoy the rest in the Lord's loving embrace, and may he continue to smile upon all who continue to remember him with love and affection. Amen. St. John DeMatha, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right, Father. Thank you very much. Excellent. At this point, Kevin Looney would like to say a few words, and we have another presentation after Kevin speaks. But Kevin, take as long as you want, obviously.
Go Thanks, ahead. Tommy. Hey, first of all, I want to thank DeMatha, the DeMatha family, the brotherhood, live and well. I'm a firm believer and member of that, and have been for a long time. So I just can't thank you guys enough for all the love and support you've given me and my family. Not just Brendan, but the whole family. Father Damien, he married Brendan and Amy back in the day. Thank you so much, Father, for always being there for us. And Tommy Ponton, my favorite cousin that always takes care of me, never forgets. Thank you for that, Tommy. I appreciate it. And just a couple things I just wanted to talk about before we get started with the other guys here. It's funny. I've been walking quite a bit, probably 15 to 18,000 steps a day. And my daughter Bridget gave me this app to listen to things about the Catholic faith. And I thought it was interesting today. St. Paul was taught, there were some quotes from him, but it basically, this might not be the exact quote, but the message was, it's not the length of a life, but how well you live your life. And I think that's appropriate here. 29 years Brendan lived with us, but he affected a lot of people, did a lot of things, never did anything half-heartedly. He always was, if he was in, going all the way. So he lived it to the fullest, his life. And although it was short, he had many accomplishments. DeMatha graduated with honors from there on Andre, what I think is the best football team DeMatha ever had, that 98 team, the Cheerios team. I think some other guys on this phone call will agree with me also. And was the MVP of that team, which had great players on there. Ryan Gillis went to Notre Dame. Cameron Wake went up to Penn State, was all pro and stuff later on. So that he stood out was awesome, and they saw that, the team did. Then he went to the Naval Academy. He had to get a waiver to get into the Naval Academy. Brendan was colorblind. We didn't know that when he first, till he did the physical there. We found that out. I just thought he dressed funny like his Uncle Jack or something, but I guess it wasn't his fault. He just couldn't see the colors, but he got a waiver, then went into that. And then he actually had to get a waiver to get into SEALs. We think he's the first officially colorblind Navy SEAL. I'm sure there's been other SEALs that are colorblind, but I think he's the first official one. Of course, since Brendan is the first official, we've had the second and third colorblind SEALs also in the family. So we've got it well covered. And I'm sure you guys have all seen the Brendan's mantra was, be strong, be accountable, never complain. I think he lived that way. He was strong. Everybody that knew him, though, he gave his all and didn't back down from anything. And although he did complain from time to time to me, but not much, not as much as Billy did anyhow. So, but again, I just, we miss him every day, but I can't thank you guys enough for remembering and jumping on this call. And I'll just like to raise the first toast, I guess. Cheers to Brendan. We love you. We miss you. And let's go. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'll shut up, Tommy. No, not at all. In fact, right before we got a couple of other things we do before we open it up, but we have to, we're going to have a lot of toast here. So who knows how we'll be at the end, but we can't go any further without thinking about the boss of the Looney family, who unfortunately we lost, what was that, about 5 or 6 years ago?
6 years ago, yep.
6 years ago. So Maureen Looney had the unfortunate experience for her to have to work with me for 13 years. Poor woman. She earned her way into heaven for that. But she did a great job at DeMatha. So cheers to Maureen as well.
Cheers to Mo.
Slanchak, yeah, absolutely. So Peter Holzberg, class of '86, is with us. And Peter, ever since the pandemic began, every night on the internet, he does a instrumental, and it's been really wonderful. I mean, I don't know how hard that is to do, to come up with something different and original every night, but he does it, and it's very much appreciated. So I asked Peter if he wouldn't mind coming on here and playing something in tribute to Brendan. And then Billy Looney is going to talk for a minute after that, and then we'll open up the floor. So, Peter, the floor is yours. And again, mute yourself, Kevin, and everyone else.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here and to play for the memory of Brendan. This is Eternal Father, Strong to Save, the Navy hymn.
Yeah.
All right, Peter, thank you so much for that. It was lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Billy Looney, the best athlete in the Looney family. I'm just kidding. We'll start a fight with that one.
Yeah,
But Billy Looney,
Tommy. You know that ain't true.
Billy Looney, the class of '02, would like to say something. So, Billy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Ponton. Good to see a bunch of familiar faces. Thank you guys so much for coming tonight. My dad did a good job not crying tonight, which is funny because I feel like I'm about to start crying. So just what I was thinking about, who I am. I'm Billy Looney, and I went to DeMatha. And you guys really mean a lot to me and my family. And it just means a lot. So thank you guys. Wish I could.
Billy, I mean, DeMatha is very proud of all that you have done and achieved as well in your life, and you're an inspiration to us as well. So thank you, Billy. And if you want to say something later as well, you know, we don't have to just keep it to one thing, but thank you. So we're going to open up the floor. If somebody would like to say something, again, please text me. Again, my number is 301-655-5650. I feel like I'm doing a PBS telethon here. Or, you know, put it up in the upper right-hand corner if you'd like to say anything. Now, I know earlier today, John Ferran contacted me and said that he had a story that he wanted to tell about Brandon Looney. John, there's so many people on my screen now. Are you there, John? Can you hear me? Big John. Earth to John. No? Okay. Well, he may surface back. I see that Andre Jones is here, and I'm going to call on him like a teacher would for a quiz. Andre's class of '87. He's done not one but two films on Brandon. Andre, I know that Kevin asked me to ask you to say a few words, so I'm sure, being the pro that you are. Yeah, by the way, John Fran, you were on mute, so we're going to go to Andre Jones and we'll come back to you. So you got to take yourself off mute, and we'll get to you right after Andre. So, Andre, you got the floor. Take your time. Go right ahead, brother.
I appreciate it, Mr. Ponton. It's a pleasure to be on this Zoom tonight. And it's just an awesome experience. You know, Mr. Looney always talks about the DeMatha family meaning so much to everybody. And that's exactly true. I never had the chance to meet Brendan personally, but I met his mother, and his mother would tell me story after story after story after story. So then I felt like I knew Brendan. So when Brendan was at the Naval Academy, his senior year, we at Channel 9 went down to do a piece on the Looney brothers. And it was Bill, Steve, and Brendan. And I got to see the magic of the Looney family. So we did the piece. I came back. I talked to Mrs. Looney, said everything went well, boom, boom. And Maureen and I got closer and closer over the years. And it's kind of like we're linked together, because my son was born and was in the NICU when Brendan passed away. And then Maureen and I talked, and I was going through a lot of emotions. And she was like, would you do something on Brendan for us? I was like, sure. So I got Mr. Ponton. We jumped in. We got James Brown, which, you know, now we're on a different level. And we did the documentary, The Honor Man, which was awesome. After that, I wanted to revisit it again. And we did a second documentary just entitled Brendan. And the second documentary, thankfully, was nominated for a regional Emmy. We did not win, but it is what it is. But through the time of doing the interviews and meeting people like Stacy Mashad, Captain Thorpe, Coach Tillman, the Naval Academy people, they were just awesome. And Brendan's legacy means so much to me, to us, that today was a special day, and every day is a special day. You know, we go through things, we want to complain, it's hard not to complain. Billy, you're not alone. I complain more than you do probably. But I'm thankful for the relationship with Mrs. Looney, who introduced me to the story of her son. And we were able to do something I think that is very nice. And I like to keep every year just maybe doing something else just to relive and give thanks every day to people like Brendan, Maureen, Kevin is awesome. Bridget is awesome. The whole family, y'all are great people. Aaron, Kelly. It's just, and I know I'm getting long-winded, Mr. Ponton, so please forgive me, but this is a special night, and I want to say thank you to everybody for allowing me to come into the family, do the story, tell the story twice, and I love you guys, and we'll just keep every day, just keep going through it. But one thing I do ask, can I get my picture on Kevin Looney's refrigerator? Kevin knows what that means. Will Jones is ahead of me, but I want to join Will on the refrigerator, Mr. Ponton. So we got to get Andre Jones' picture on the refrigerator. That's all I ask.
All right, Andre, we'll work on that now. Actually, and if you recall, it was actually a month after Brendan had passed away, and you were working for Comcast, and a number of the Loonies were running in the Marine Corps Marathon. I was just running in the 10K at that point, and you came down and did a really nice piece on, the family and others who were running in tribute to Brendan that day, either the marathon or the 10K. I mean, I wound up running / walking a marathon, and I still to this day don't know how I did that, but I did. But it was all in honor, in tribute to Brendan and the person that he was. So thank you, Andre.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
We're going to go now. We're going to try John Ferran. John, you were on mute last time, so please take yourself off mute, and hopefully this time it will work. John.
How about now?
Yep, I can hear you now, John. Yep.
Okay. I'm a dinosaur, Tom.
It's okay.
In case you didn't know. I'm sure I'm probably the oldest one on here. I just wanted to tell a story that I found very interesting because I didn't know how it developed. As some of you may know, we got a lot of Ferrans that have gone through DeMatha. And at this point, my youngest son, Ryan, has two sons at DeMatha, one Gavin and one Riley. Gavin's a senior, Riley's now a sophomore. This story is about Riley, and it was really kind of unique when I heard it. Very touching, actually, especially since all of his uncles and everything played football at DeMatha, and he could have chosen one of our jersey numbers to use when he got on varsity. He played JV ball as a freshman. And he got brought up for the championship game for the varsity to stand on the sidelines and cheer. But he has a good future in front of him in football, I think. He was starting, for example, in the fall ball before they had to close everything down as a tight end. He's 6'3", 6'3.5", 215 pounds. He's a sophomore. Great swimmer. He could swim in college if he wanted to. Longest short story. Let me try to speed it up. At the end of his freshman year, when he was playing JV football, I had not played it down in varsity yet. He had the temerity to approach Bill McGregor in Bill's office. And he looked at Bill, and this is third hand. I wasn't there, but this is what I'm told, and I believe it. He looked at Bill and said, Coach McGregor said, "Is there any chance I could pick my number for varsity next year?" I'd have been embarrassed if I'd never played a down of football for DeMatha varsity and asked to pick his own number in his sophomore year. And Bill proceeded to tell him that DeMatha is about tradition and so on and so forth. And we always let seniors pick their number first and then juniors. And then you'll be a sophomore, Riley. So you'll be third in line. So if nobody picks the number you want, then you can have it. Well, the conversation went on a little bit longer. And Bill asked Riley what number he wanted to have. And he didn't choose my number. He didn't choose my brother's number. He didn't choose my other brother's number. He didn't choose either of my son's number. He chose the number 10. He told Bill that he would very much like to wear the number 10 throughout his career at DeMatha in honor of Brendan Looney, because that's the number that Brendan chose. So here's hoping he's going into his junior year this year. He's not going to play in the fall because he had some minor surgery that he's recovering from for shoulder. So as he goes into his junior year, I know he's hoping he can get the number 10. But he also understands, like the Looney family, the Ferran family, we understand tradition. And he is going to honor the tradition of DeMatha that upperclassmen get the first choice. But at some point, I know he hopes he gets the number 10. I thought the Loonies might like to hear that.
That's great, John. In fact, that's wonderful. You actually said the fall. So actually, what some people don't know, we're going to play 5 games this spring. There's no season per se, I mean, no championship or anything, but we're hoping to play 5 games this spring. So you're saying that
he's going to sit out. He's going to sit out in the spring.
Right,
he's just starting to lift weights right now, so he's going to sit out in the spring.
Okay.
But he was running first team offense as sophomore in the fall ball last year, so he's going to play a lot of ball for Bill. I know that.
Well, he's got great genes coming from that Ferran legacy there. So thank you for sharing that, John. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, a few years ago, we had these beers made in honor of Brendan, and I saved one of them for a special occasion, and it's called Loon Dog. So I'm going to go to the refrigerator here and go get a Loon Dog, and Mark Russo, class of 94, is asked to say a few words. So, Mark, your job is to keep talking until I get back with my Loon Dog, okay?
All right,
He'll be okay with that.
Yeah, thanks, Mace. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Good evening. Kevin, just hello there. And I think Andre Jones, said it well, but I think this to me is one of those things about our brotherhood that makes it special, is we've got all different classes and we can come on and have an instant connection. And I was lucky enough to give Kevin, maybe not so well, but Kevin some golf lessons with his daughters. And Kevin, if your golf game stinks, it's okay. You can blame it on the coach. And I'm fine with that. It's all good. But an interesting, honestly, Kevin, one of the, just interesting how life sort of circles around and it's a small world. I had a student come into me about 3 years ago and I started teaching him, and he has become one of my best friends, honestly. And he's a Navy SEAL. And I come to find out that he went to Buds with Brendan. So it was a little bit surprising when he found out I went to DeMatha. We started to make the connection, and Brendan and I obviously didn't know each other. But when I think I posted on Facebook or something about it at one point, and he said, "Hey, I went through Buds with him." So it's just amazing how life circles around, and he had nothing but good things to say, just so you know. And I feel count my blessings also that I was lucky enough to get to know Maureen and through the golf tournament. So, it's our connection is very special. This whole thing to me is something that I'll always cherish, being a part of DeMatha. Both of my sons, who are 9 and 4, were baptized in the chapel at DeMatha, and my wife, who understands the connection, and we live about 7 minutes away from Spalding, and she took a shot at it and said, we're really close to Spalding, and I gave it one of these and said, the look I gave her was all we needed to know, that both of our boys are going to continue the tradition and go to DeMatha. So cheers to the Looney family and one DeMatha. Thanks, Tom.
Here's to you, Mark. Thanks.
Mark, I got my Loon Dog right here. In fact, Billy and Kevin, you probably don't know this, but there is a class of 16 alum right now that is in Bud's training. And I know, again, that seeing that wall at DeMatha every day inspires a whole nother group of stags. I got to check on. There should be another one that I think is now a SEAL that I have to check on. He should have gotten through. I mean, he made it through Hell Week about a year ago, so he should be in. I got to check on him, because if these two guys make, what's that?
What's his name?
What's that, Billy? What's the name?
Yeah, text me offline.
I'll text you offline, because you can check.
I'll find out.
Okay, that'd be good. Bunch of people now are weighing in that they'd like to speak, and I promise we'll get to everyone. And we're going to bring on, and hopefully we'll be able to see him as well, Scott Mcbrine, class of 99, the quarterback on the 98 football team, which was undefeated and highly nationally ranked, and teammate of Brendan Looney's, and had a great career then at the University of Maryland. Scott, can you hear me?
I sure can. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good.
DeMatha family, good evening. It's good to see everybody. See some familiar faces on here. It's always good to reconnect with the DeMatha family. Mr. Looney, haven't seen you since the old Hall of Fame dinner. It's good to see you again. Billy, good to see you as well, my man. Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple words here. I'll make it quick. Obviously remembering that 98 football team. That was our senior year. It was a magical year, of course. Going undefeated and playing, our arch rival Gonzaga in the championship at RFK. We had a great run, a lot of great talent on that team, and Brendan was a huge part of that. He was always mad at the time that he never looked good in highlights and in pictures because he had to wear the bubble on his helmet just because he was a mad wrecking ball. And Wendy wouldn't let him play without wearing that bubble protection on his helmet. His helmet looked too big. But those are fun times to remember. Just a quick story on my end. I coming out of eighth grade. I don't know how many of you guys know my story, but I wasn't the biggest recruit in the world. I followed Tim Strachan. He was a family friend of ours, and had a lot of friends go to DeMatha, some family go to DeMatha, and I always wanted to be a Stag, as a little kid. But I really didn't think that I was big enough. I didn't think I was talented enough to go to DeMatha. Obviously they were an extra level above everybody else back in the day, as they still are today. But I never thought that I could play with the big boys, if you will, right? And so I ended up going to another school off Georgia Avenue that wore blue and gold in the WCAC. I won't repeat their name. And so I ended up playing there my freshman and sophomore year. And my sophomore year, I always hate bringing this up to Father Damien because he was on the sideline. He always gives me heck for this game. But we ended up beating DeMatha in my sophomore year. And I thought to myself after that game, you know what? I might be able to play with these guys. I remember looking up to DeMatha at that point in time in pregame warmups, thinking, "Man, these guys are going to have a field day on us." And it went the other way. And I remember thinking, you know what? I wonder if there'd be an opportunity for me to play at DeMatha for Coach Bill McGregor and following Tim Strachan's footsteps because he was a friend of ours, family friend that I looked up to for years. And I remember coming home and talking to my mom about it and saying, you know what, I'd love to go over there and visit and talk to those guys. And sure enough, come Christmas, I ended up taking a visit. And I show up the first day and Coach McGregor says, I'm going to put you with a kid as your host for the day. Just follow him around and, you'll be here for the day and you'll sit in with classes and maybe go to a workout and just talk to them and see what you think. Who was my host was Brendan Looney. And him and I hit it off right away. Me and coming out of that school in Wheaton, showing up to Hyattsville, I remember kind of being like, man, this is it. This is DeMatha. This is the place that I wanted to come to, out of eighth grade. And, Brendan Looney and I just had a great time that day. He showed me around, showed me the ropes, and him and I really hit it off. And I remember coming home that night and my mom, asking me questions, what'd you think? And I remember her peppering me with questions. What'd you think about the teachers? What'd you think about, the school, the facility, the coaches, the staff? And I really didn't have an answer for her. And she was like, Scott, you spent all day over at DeMatha and you don't have any answers for me. What'd you think? And the only thing that I could say to her was, I really don't remember a whole lot, Mom, but I remember my host being a really cool kid. This kid, Brendan Looney. And you know what? He wasn't bigger than I was. So if he can play at DeMatha, I think I can play at DeMatha. And I remember thinking, you know what? I think I'm going to make this hop. And sure enough, making the jump my sophomore year and transferring into DeMatha, it was the best decision that I'd ever made. So many friendships, so many relationships. You know, what the coaches did for me and in my career was just a huge boost. And Brendan was a big part of that. Brendan and I had a special relationship that went on for those next 2.5 years and carried on even after high school. You know, one more quick story is before that championship game out at RFK, we played Gonzaga. We come into school one day and Brendan has this great idea, you know, on a Thursday before practice, he comes into class with a Gonzaga football jersey. And he's saying, Scott, I have an idea. And he's looking at me and I'm saying, what is your idea? He goes, I've got a Gonzaga jersey in my book bag. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to practice, to the practice field during lunch, and we're going to hang this jersey on the goalpost and act like a Gonzaga player came and hung the jersey on the goalpost. That'll get our team really fired up for a Thursday practice. And I'm rolling my eyes at him saying, Brendan, okay, what do you want me to do? Drive the car? He said, yeah, let's drive the car to lunch and hang this jersey. We'll tape it on the goalpost. Sure enough, we both drive over to the practice field. We hang this jersey, tape it on the goalpost, and we come back for our last 2 periods of class. We end up going to the practice field, and our whole team is in awe. Where did this jersey come from? Coach McGregor's scratching his head. You know, he's gritting his teeth, saying, "What? These guys came over here and hung this jersey up on our practice field." You know, so our team was so fired up that day going into practice. We had one of the best practices before a championship game we've ever had. Obviously, we go to the championship game at RFK and beat Gonzaga, and Brendan takes credit for that whole victory because he hung that jersey on the goalpost. So that's just a quick little fun story about Brendan, but in our relationship. So, you know, Brendan was always a special friend to me. I will always remember Brendan and the whole Looney family. Mr. Looney, you know, you guys have a special place in my heart, Billy, the whole Looney family, the whole DeMatha family. And, you know, I just want to raise a glass and a toast. And it's great to take a day and take a moment to remember Brendan as we always do. So thank you, guys.
Tom, you're on mute.
All right, sorry. Scott, again, thanks so much. And thank God you came over from the dark side and joined us at DeMatha. I'm just kidding. But no, what a great stag you are. And thank you for that story. And we're so glad you came over and became a stag. So a number of people have messaged me. I'm going to get to everyone, I promise. But next we have Brendan's uncle, Denny, and Terry Looney are going to speak now. Denny? You might be on mute. Are you on mute, Denny?
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
Good. We can hear you. Yeah, you're good. Okay.
Before Terry starts talking, all I got to say about the best athlete in the Looney family is Bridget. Over all of them by far.
She's a twin now.
Like I said, Brendan was just a great kid, and he was always, you know, respectful, and we're just real proud of him.
Well, I just wanted to say I married into the Looney family at the ripe old age of 17. And little did I know at the time that I had hit the jackpot. I came from a big family, so I didn't like I needed a big family, but I got one. And I can say that the Denny's, I married Brendan's craziest uncle, and I think everybody would agree on that. And I have to say that Denny's brothers were and have always been very loving to me and my sister-in-laws, and I've got such great nieces and nephews, all of them. I you know, you can't really choose. They're all great. But I will say this, that I was very honored when Maureen and Kevin asked me to be Brenda's godmother. I was shocked. I thought, me? I can't believe it. They picked me. And I was really proud of that. And turns out I had a lot to be proud of. He got the short end of the stick, Brendan did, because he was more of a role model for me than I was for him. He was a great kid. He was very kind, tender, loving. I know you all are talking about his great strengths and in sports and everything, but when I think of him, I think of that tender spirit he had, and I'll always remember him and love him for that. So Brendan, here's to you. I miss you. I love you.
All right. Love all these toasts, boy. I have to get a few more loon dogs here. Matt Houseman is going to speak, another teammate of Brendan's. Matt?
Hey, greetings to everyone out there, DeMatha family, Mr. Looney, Billy. Been trying to get my thoughts together here, so forgive me if I'm a little scatterbrained. I've got one or two things I want to say, and I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. But for as long as I can remember, the Looney family and my family have been connected. And Brendan, Steve, and Billy were always like the brothers I never had. And I've really taken to heart, especially these last couple of years of my life where I'm fighting a daily battle as a member of the recovery community. I've really been able to take to heart Brendan's motto of be strong, be accountable, never complain. Every group that I speak to, here's a little story about Brendan. And it's how I live. It's how I live my life, because every day the fight continues. So his mantra still lives strong with me, and I think about him every single day. And just a couple quick little things when I think of Brendan. I've got my memories from the football field and the baseball field. And one of my favorite football memories of him was in youth football. I've never seen a coach get so upset because they didn't have the opportunity to coach somebody. When Brendan skipped from skipped over a weight class, I actually got to see a grown man throw a hissy fit because he didn't get to coach Brendan. I'll never forget that. But the memories that really stick out to me are a letter that he wrote to me before I went into my senior year. I'm a year below him, a year above Steve, 2 above Billy. He wrote me a letter just about what he saw in me, what he expected from me as a friend, as a brother. And, the words in that letter were some of the most important words I'd ever heard in my life up to that point. And he followed through as being the person that he was on the field, off the field, walking the walk, talking the talk all the time. My grandmother, my dad's mother, died my junior year of high school, and all my friends knew about the funeral arrangements, and Brendan was the only one to show up. And I was shocked to see him there. I didn't expect anybody to show up. As far as my friends are concerned, I remember Brendan was there with Mr. and Mrs. Looney, and when I saw them walking out of the church, I broke down and cried for the first time since my grandmother died, just at the love that I felt in my heart from Brendan, Mr. and Mrs. Looney. And I'll never forget that feeling. And living by that motto is one of my daily focuses now when I talk to people, when I talk to groups of people, is to remember I statements. Not to sit there and say, we need to do this, you need to do this to get where you want to be. This is what I've done. This is what I am doing. So leading by example and keeping the focus on me in order to help others. And Brendan was great at that. He led by example. He didn't tell people what to do. You saw what Brendan did, and you wanted to emulate that in everything you did. He truly, in my heart, in my mind, will always be a superhero and one of my best friends. And I miss him, and I think about him every day. I'm very grateful to be a part of this call. And I don't drink anymore, so I will just end with a God bless and happy birthday, Brendan. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. And, Matt's dad, Kevin, class of 75, is a classic stag. Please pass on to your dad that we all said hello to him. Okay, Matt? All right.
Yes, sir. Will do.
Got a bunch of people here lined up to talk Paul Mazzai, class of 01. Paul, the stage is yours.
Thank you, sir. I think myself and JT Silvers, at least on my screen, he's a couple screens over. We go, I guess, technically all the way back to the St. Mary's days with the Looney family. I was at St. Mary's in Upper Marlboro when the Looney clan, I feel like they came in everybody at once and took over. It was, Brendan, Billy, and Steve, and then the girls were a little bit behind us, but we were all within a year or so of each other at St. Mary's, and then everybody went on to DeMatha. JT and I played hockey there and stayed in touch with everybody. JT and I are both Prince George's County police officers now. And there's quite a tradition from the DeMatha community onto the county police here, the same way that there is quite the tradition from DeMatha into the military side of service. And it's funny because when you have a basis like that, you know people well, you know people through high school. Everybody leaves and says, "Hey, we're never coming back," and then everybody does come back, and so there's kind of a connection that never goes away. And so fast forward, I don't know what, Mr. Looney, 12 years into my career, I end up getting promoted to sergeant, go back to the road, and I'm the sergeant at the Hyattsville station, which covers DeMatha. And so Mr. Looney and I feel like it was probably every month or so, every month and a half or so, got to hang out at some sort of DeMatha function or dinner when I was working. So, it was, we never, those of us that have come on the police department here have never lost track of, and I think certain amounts of it hit home a little bit more to us in that public safety, public service community than, we, on behalf of all of the county police officers that went to DeMatha, we want to, we have kind of our internal fraternity to the fraternity. But, the Looney family and Brendan have always been kind of that pillar of, the A++. So to Mr. Looney, to everybody that's on here, to Billy, to the girls, and we love you all. It's not to kind of be the downer, but that every year things kind of go by in a flash, and then today's anniversary, Brendan's birthday comes around, and for us at the county, the next month holds, I believe, 6 line of duty deaths for county police officers, one of which is Tommy Jensen, who was class of 2000, worked in Hyattsville, District 1, protected the school there. He died in a car accident in 2010. So, it's the themes that a lot of people have touched on and what truly make the DeMatha community what it is. It's not by accident. Those things are instilled in the students that go there, and they carry those through the rest of their lives. And so, from us to the Looney family, from us to the DeMatha family, we love you guys. And many thanks for everybody. And Brendan, we love you. He was our kind of older brother. He was kind of the oldest of our crew between JT and I and a number of the other guys that grew up between St. Mary's and DeMatha. So, so many thanks to everybody. I had texted JT. I don't know if he's got anything kind of to say along those terms on the county police front, but I know it's Brendan lives in our conversations on a daily, weekly basis. So, JT, I'll give it to you if you got anything, brother.
Thank you, Maisie. That was well said. Just Mr. Looney wanted me to say a few things, but we're all in the same line of work. We're doing God's work. We're protecting the people on the home front and away. But we're all sacrificing in one way or another. And right now it's pretty hard for, it's pretty rough for police officers, but I think we're still holding the line. And I think Maisie pretty much said everything that had to be said, but this is to Brendan and the Looney family. Cheers, everybody.
Hey, thank you both. So if I'm sure you all have seen it. If you drive on Route 1 and you go across Route 193, University Boulevard, you see the sign in memory of Tommy Jensen. And of course, if you drive into Annapolis now, off of Route 50 on, Rowell Boulevard, you see the sign for Brendan Looney. Every time I stop for a minute. My wife goes, "Why are we stopping?" I said, "Well, I got to stop. See the Brendan Looney sign here for a minute." Well, you've seen it before. Well, but I got to stop here. Brendan Dubow is a classic Stag, is in the house, and he's going to say a few words. Brendan?
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Yeah, kind of like not trying to collect my thoughts about what to say, but obviously there's a lot of history between the Dubow clan and the Looney clan, both boys and girls, Holy Cross, DeMatha, connections there. And obviously like seeing all you guys. I mean, thinking back on Brendan, obviously I think, you probably knew who I was. A lot of you guys know who I was in high school. A lot different than, maybe just a little bit different than the guy I am now. But a lot of the stories I could probably tell would probably not be appropriate with Father Damien here. So I'm going to reserve this to probably the more PG rated model of it. But, we had a lot of great times. Myself, see Tom's on there, Scotty McBee, Brendan, Dunn, I know I saw Gillis was on too. We had a pretty tight clique with our, crazy Stags, right? We gotta throw it up there. But I think for me, and I don't know, Kevin or Billy, I even had the opportunity to share this story with you guys at all. I figured I'd share a story about something that between me and Brendan, I don't think I've really shared with many people. Just one of those moments where you're really proud of someone that you've watched, for a very long time. And this moment occurred on Memorial Day of 2004. Probably not a really good day in Billy's mind just because of what happened in the last couple minutes of that game. But for those of you who don't understand, that was the national championship for Navy against the perennial powerhouse of Syracuse lacrosse in Baltimore. And be able to see, Brendan participate and lead that team to a national championship, potentially, right? Lost by 1 goal against someone, a school like Syracuse, was amazing to see. And I remember watching that game, and it's etched in my mind almost play by play. Probably one of the best games that I can recall from a lacrosse standpoint. And I remember being in the Navy tailgate afterwards, and all the guys are coming out, and for whatever reason, I kind of got separated from the tailgate a little bit by myself. I think it was like taking a phone call or something like that. And Brendan came up, just devastated, and gave him a big bear hug, shared some tears. And obviously the first time I ever saw Brendan cry, probably, not many people have had the opportunity to see that. And, I was like, why are you crying, dude? Navy lacrosse just almost came within, a couple of seconds of being able to overtake the perennially best lacrosse, school in the nation. And, I remember saying, like, do you have anything left? And of course it's Brendan. He's like, yeah. I was like, you think you could go back out there and play some more? I was like, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Because that's who Brendan was. But I was like, what about the team? Do you think the team could do that? I was like, no, we put it all out there. And I was like, well, then you have nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to cry for. I mean, look at you, dude. You're colorblind playing a sport that I grew up my entire life playing. And you're playing on a national stage under the 40,000 people. It's unfortunate your brothers blew it, but you did a fantastic job of representing yourself and doing. Sorry, Billy, I had to dig you out a little bit. I'm just kidding. You guys were great. It was like I said, it was a great game. Billy knows what I'm talking about. I'm sure it haunts him every night. But it's just, and then seeing in one of my last memories of him beyond that story, unfortunately, life overtook me a little bit, and you lose touch a little bit, and you don't know where people are. But I remember talking to Brendan briefly before he decided I think he was in North Korea doing intel for the SEALs, I think, when he decided that he was like, yeah, I'm going to go for this. And I was like, dude, South Korea. Sorry. Yeah. Not North Korea. Right. Yeah. Good point. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, that's trust me. That's not classified, guys. Okay. That was, yeah. That was before, and, I was like, Brendan, you're colorblind. And, I work in the DoD a little bit as a contractor. I'm like, I would say this to anybody else, you got no chance. But if there's anybody in this world that can do that can change potentially the policy to accept that, you're the only guy that can do that. And having him be able to go through that and do all that, I'm not surprised, being the honor man of his class and, excelling, and, the stories you hear about, what happened with, the last ride that he had, all of those things are not surprising because that's all just ingrained of the kind of person he was. And I try to live up to that every day, that standard that he sets. And it's hard to, because it's just such a high bar. But it's something I always strive for. And it's something I'll never forget. And, my family, the DeVoe family, we all feel the same way about Brendan and the Looney clan, obviously. I have a 4-year-old son, and every time he looks at my phone, it's got my favorite picture of Brendan with him with a dog in his back pocket downrange. And he's like, Daddy, is that your hero? Yeah, that's always going to be my hero. So big toast to B. Sorry, couldn't be here for 40th, but like Father said, hopefully he's gonna have a lot more up there. So cheers, Brendan. Love you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Brendan. And my own son is named Brendan. There's a lot of people out there named Brendan. Anyway, Ryan Gillis, class of '99, is going to speak next. And Brian, just like Mark Russo, I'm going to have to leave the screen for a minute, so I'm counting on you to talk till at least I get back. So Ryan, are you there? Can you come on screen here?
Can you hear me okay? Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, sir, I can. Go right ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, that sucks. I have to continue to talk and be kind of a blabbermouth. It's not like historically I tend to have the gift of gab, but oh well, I guess I'll just kind of wing it. But honestly, still choking back a few tears from that Debo, man. Well said. Everyone else, we all know Brendan, and we all still love Brendan and think about him all the time. And we've had so many stories going back and forth. The one thing that struck me as more interesting than anything is I've always kind of felt that Looney did deserve credit for the championship of our team, honestly. I mean, if you look at some of the people who we recruited, Scott, myself, like we came to DeMatha and Brendan toured us around, and he was the reason I went to that school as well. And it was the best decision I've made in my entire life. Looney was not just a great friend, as you all know. Looney was, I consider him a rock. I mean, he was, I've had a lot of mental issues. Like you guys who knew me in high school knew I was a little bit unstable, to say the least, and a little bit crazy from time to time. But Brendan was always there, not to just give you a shot of rationality and reason, but to kick your ass when you needed it and to hug you when you needed it. And it's thanks to him and you guys, DeMatha, that actually my entire version of what true friendship was completely redefined when I came to DeMatha. I thought I had friends before, and then I met Looney and you guys, and was a whole different ball game. And that kept going with Brendan no matter what happened. Before him, I always was concerned that if I did something wrong, that, the best friend wouldn't be my best friend anymore. I can't tell you how many times I'd be freaking out or worried about something, and Brendan would just smack me in the face and be like, shut up. We're good. Let's go. Or I was talking trash about myself, and he said, look, do you honestly think I would spend time hanging out with you if you were even 20% as stupid or whatever as you think you are in your head? And I was like, whoa. And he's like, yeah. So shut up. You're good. We're good. Let's go. He was always great at helping me get out of my own way. But he just kind of had that natural leadership we all talk about. But the other part of that was when I kept talking to him at, when I was at Notre Dame, and he would come out to visit, every single person I introduced Looney to, they stopped talking to me and just wanted to know the next time he was coming back up. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. He's great. I'm a nice guy too, right? And that's as the women walk away to go talk to him. So I'm not jealous at all. Not hurt one bit. But it would have been nice if you'd maybe put on a couple of pounds or something so I didn't look so. You know what? I'm getting off topic here. Sorry. But not just Brendan, but the entire Looney clan as well. I mean, I spent God knows how much time over at y'all's place. And Looney is, the way he is, the way everything that we've said about him is a tribute back to you guys, not just Mr. Looney and Mrs. Looney, but the whole family. I mean, you guys were, to say an amazing family to be around is an understatement. The amount of love, the amount of respect, the amount of caring, and the amount of athleticism in your household was just awe-inspiring. And it kind of set the standard what I wanted, life to be like in the future. Families like that, friendships like this, and when he talked about him being your hero, man, he's totally mine too. And one of the things that I've been so proud of is my sister's kids, my nephews. There are another generation of Gillises, so to speak, that roam the earth. So watch out. We had to get a waiver from the government to make that legal. But Looney is their guidepost. They're not just their hero. He is who we teach moral lessons about. It used to be like the alpha male in the Gillis clan was the one to look up to. Even my dad is like, no, don't use me or my father as an example. In this household, we use Brendan Looney. And we are damn proud to use Looney. Because in any situation, I know my nephews could be like, well, what would Looney do? Not that I talk trash about Jesus, but I'm much more concerned with what would Brendan do in any situation. And I know he won't, steer them wrong. And every single person in our entire extended family has tons of pictures of him, tons of things. But more than anything, I have not had a family get together where we do not all tell a couple stories about Brendan and raise a glass. And it never gets any easier not having him here with us. But I'm super glad to see all of your faces today. And I'd love to once again raise a glass to Brendan and say, Mr. Looney Clan, thank you so much for making him a part of our lives.
Love you, Gil. Great job, buddy.
Yep. Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, Tommy, real quick, I would like to take a vote of the people on. Is the 98 team not the best football team in DeMatha history? Andre, you can't vote.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Andre left, I think. So he's out already garnering votes. But we got a couple more people are gonna speak, and then we're gonna do a couple of toasts and conclude for the evening. So I'm looking at Tom Cilio here. Tom, I think your class of what class? 95. What class are you?
That was Charlie Cilio. I am part of the best class, which was 99.
Oh, okay. So I see you in your fatigues and the flag there behind you, and I know you're a Notre Dame grad, right?
I am. Yes, and I just got home from work and have another meeting after this. So
okay. So where are you right now? Are you a Marine?
No, I went into the not quite smartest branch in the Army of the. We like to make everything rougher than the Navy does, but we have internet connectivity most of the places we go.
Okay. So where are you right now?
I'm in my basement office because I got home from work.
But where? What city or state?
Alexandria. So I'm right down the road.
Okay, shucks. Well, go ahead. You wanted to speak. I'm sorry. Pardon my ignorance here.
To follow up on the good old class of '99, because I think the scariest part of this whole thing is that we are turning 40. So for you class of 74, 78, like the class of 99's turning 40. And it's right around the corner for the class of 01 and 02. You guys are fast on our heels. But I've had the privilege and good fortune to follow Gillis in his footsteps to Notre Dame, and be surrounded by my best friends and from high school into college. And then after that, over the past 18 years, I've gotten to travel all over the world. So on 4 continents, many rotations, both the deployments and to like Korea at the beginning. Guess what? Brendan tried to follow me there. I mean, he had to go play in a national championship first, but we got to overlap and see one another down in Busan a couple of times. And then fast forward, run into him in Iraq again. After his loss, which hit all of us pretty hard, in the past few years, everywhere I've gone, I may not make as big a deal out of being a Notre Dame guy, though I have a Play Like a Champion sign in my office. But things of where did I come from? And I'm a PG County native. And then if people have to ask where that is, I'm like, you know where DeMatha is? That's normally my landmark there. And then typically on deployments or rotations, the question is, I know a guy from there. It's Brendan. And you're like, what the heck? Like, so you're in Germany, you're in Kuwait, you're in Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea. I was over in Africa, and randomly people that you start to talk to all know the story and know about Brendan. And I share the good stories, and they're all good stories. I avoid the stories of being, the first time outside of the Army that I hugged another man while in the middle of the night was Brendan, because he's hilarious. And we definitely didn't get in trouble with Mr. and Mrs. Gillis there. But they're all hilarious stories, and it's those anchor moments that whenever things are going good or bad, you can tie it back to the friendships that you had with the guys from DeMatha, and then the life lessons that you had from Brendan and the family. Because I know that more than once I got in trouble from my mom because Brendan told Kevin stuff. It's like, why are you telling your dad what we're about to do? Like, we're going to do something that's going to get us in trouble. And of course he tells his dad, who then tells Maureen, who thinks it's hilarious. And then she calls my mom, and I've got to cut it out and go home before we actually get in trouble. So the openness of the family to be able to share and have that love for one another probably kept me out of more trouble than I should have gotten into had I not had the checks and balances from the people around me. So everywhere we go, there's somebody that remembers the Looney family and Brendan, and it's always in a positive light. So thank you, guys.
And thank you, Tom. Thank you for your service to our country. At DeMatha, we have plaques of those who have given their life for their country and those who have given their life to their community, like Tom Jensen. So there are people out there who are serving our country, and people like Paul and JT who are serving our community as well. Bob Russell would like to say a few words. Bob?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, greetings from Madison, Connecticut. I have a quick story that I don't think many people know about. I think 4 days before Brendan deployed from San Diego, he and I had the privilege of playing golf in San Diego. Billy with 2 sort of okay goalies. And Brendan pulls me aside and hands me a Team 3 challenge coin. And that may be one of the most valuable things I have in my entire life. It's in my pocket. The only time I take it out was back in the day when you used to be able to fly. And that means more to me than you can ever comprehend. I also want to say something about the Looney family. The strength that everybody has shown is just mind-boggling. at every Navy lacrosse game, Kelly sat next to my wife, and she died right after Maureen did, of Alzheimer's. And I think Kelly and Katie bonded. I mean, Aaron, and whoever said it early on that Bridget was the best athlete, I'm like voting for that option. Stevie's a big part of our life. I love Billy beyond words. And I don't know, I talk to Kevin a couple times a week. I just want to take a minute for everybody to just look at what the role model of class, dignity, being straight shooters, and just amazing, wonderful people the Loonies are. So I'm honored to be on this call. I love you guys all so much. And hey, Kev, I'll call you this week, and we're all good into the rest of the Looney Foundation, the Looney clan. Let's hope this pandemic goes away so we can tee it up this summer in Queenstown. So thank you, sir. I'm out.
Sounds good. Love you, Bob.
Yep. Thank you, Bob. Heather Looney would like to.
I've been blessed. I've got my 4 natural brothers, of course, but I've got my other brother right here, Bob Russell, all my DeMatha brothers. I have a big family, so I have been blessed. There's no doubt.
Well, actually, Kevin, I think we should say, the fact that Kevin's grandmother and my grandmother were sisters, and they grew up in Mycullen, County Galway, Ireland. And Kevin's grandmother, Catherine, there was a family of 12. 5 boys and then 7 girls. The oldest girl was Catherine Looney, Kevin's grandmother, who came to America, went to Chicago and then to D.C. And my grandmother, who was the youngest of the entire family, eventually followed, all because of Catherine Looney. So it's a small world. Heather Looney would like to say a few words. Heather?
I apologize. It's Brian Looney. I'm not tech savvy with Heather's phone.
Oh, okay.
This is Brian Looney. Uncle Kevin, I've been meaning to call you. Just been a little busy lately. Really been busy since we redeployed. And last night, kind of something happened, and I kind of made me realize I want to share some stories. So I've been all over the world, Iraq, Afghanistan, Korea, Germany, Poland, Yemen. Everywhere I go, somehow Brendan comes up, and it's kind of it's amazing just to share with the community the depth, the reach that he has. Upon taking command, though, kind of the funny thing was we were in Poland, and I walk out with a Be Strong shirt on, and one of my soldiers comes running up to me, like a really motivated kid who really wants to do well in life, and he's like, "Hey, sir, I can't help notice that Be Strong shirt. I don't think you know about this kid, and I want to talk to you. There's this Lieutenant Brendan Looney, and like he is the guy." And I'm like, "Say no more, Brazil. That's very interesting. That's my cousin." It blew my mind, and that's one small example from a soldier that I'm proud as I'm wishing him off next week to go off to the Special Forces community. Last night, though, the unthinkable happened, Uncle Kevin. I'm sitting there, my phone rings as it always does, and my chaplain calls me, and he's like, "Hey, sir, the Lord's just talking to me. Heather was on a FaceTime with his wife for another event taking place."
Can I just cut off? His wife won the raffle prize from the Brendan Looney Foundation that we did. So she gave it to him, and he was in a Zoom call last night wearing the Be Strong. So I said, that is so cool. Tomorrow's would be his 40th birthday. So then he does research.
So Kevin Trimble, my chaplain, is like, "Sir, I never put 2 and 2 together because he was a SEAL, but my battalion, my brigade was the one flying the aviation incident. I actually provided the ramp ceremony for Brendan. So I know a righteous, glorious man who was there for Brendan in his final moments. And just means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to everybody knowing that a quality human being was there for Brendan, for us in that moment. Sorry. I get a little emotional every now and then when I think about Brendan. But really what I'm trying to communicate is he has made a lasting impact on everybody. I regret the Army has kind of kept me away for so long. You know, I left good old Bowie back in '98. I never got to finish DeMatha. Forced to go to Bowie High School. I know I'm not as good as the one stagnation that's on the net right now, but you know, there's a great community that DeMatha has. DeMatha builds strong men of moral character that kind of puts men into the world. And, you know, there's tons of great stories on the net right now. And Brendan exemplifies the best in every story that's on the net. It's my 2 cents. And I look forward to seeing you soon, Uncle Kevin, as soon as this damn COVID goes away. I've been on lockdown ever since I redeployed, and I'm desperately waiting to be able to get back up to Maryland to see you and see the whole family. Love you guys.
Love you, Brian.
Cheers, brother. Yeah, thank you. No, Brian, that's great. Thank you. That's wonderful. Hey, you're a stag in my book, all right? And of course, your dad's a great stag as well. So, Kevin, I have a toast to give. If you want to be the one, you want to be the guy to give the last word here before we conclude, and I'll do this toast, and then you say something, or what do you want to do here?
Yeah, let me just say something, Tommy, then you close out with your toast, because you're a much better speaker than me. You know that. But, man, I just can't thank everybody enough for coming in tonight. You know, Bob Russell, like I said, I've got a lot of brothers in this world, my biological and my other ones too, and I love them all. And one quick story, again, Mo, who worked for Tommy 12, 13 years, Tommy, right? And
yes, 13.
She'd always give me grief, like I'd be filling up the car with gas and a guy pull in with the DeMatha tag. So of course I'd have to go over and introduce myself and say, hey, Kevin Looney, 74. What's your connection to DeMatha? And that's my wife there, Maureen. She runs the show. Ponton thinks he does, but we know better. And I go back in the car and she goes, you know, Kevin, you don't have to know everybody from DeMatha. I said, oh, honey, I disagree. I think I do need to know everybody from DeMatha, and I try. But and in my Stag Brothers know, I close out my emails and notes where I write to them. It's basically, you know, Stag for life, Kevin Looney, and that's what it is. Because DeMatha has been so good to me and my family. I just can't say enough about it. Thanks, Tommy. And again, thank you guys again for logging on tonight.
Well, before we do this test, I have a story there about Maureen, and it relates to her relationship, obviously, with Kevin. And, you know, I didn't have any brothers. I only had any sisters. And I would always tell Maureen how great Kevin was. And she goes, you know, be married to him. I'm just kidding, you know. But anyway, she had her first surgery for ovarian cancer. And she came back to work about a month or so later. And she goes, you know how you always said that Kevin Looney was a great guy? She goes, well, you're right. He is a great guy. But it was a touching thing she actually said about you, Kevin, there. So, anyway, at Brendan's funeral, Bridget, in her eulogy, said that, you know, Brendan will always be with us and will always be guiding the way. And, of course, we always think, we don't always think, we know and believe in the resurrection, and that we'll all be together someday. So after Brendan died, I wrote this sort of toast to this poem, and we'll conclude with this. And again, thank you for everyone being here tonight. Brendan Looney will always have a special place in my heart, a special place at DeMatha, and appreciate everything that, you know, Father Damien has done for the family, and all the classic stags that I see here tonight. I'm looking at Stephen Green right now, who's a tremendous stag in his service to his country as well. So I'll get carried away now. I'll start tingling out everybody. So we won't do that. And we'll conclude with this last toast in the thought that we will all be together one day. And that is, trumpets will sound before the parade, the cannons will thunder, the flags well displayed, and the faithful will gather just round the bren when Brendan, our brother, comes home again. The moon will rise and the mist will clear, and as the sun sets, the stars all appear. The fireworks streaming as the journey it ends, when Brendan, our brother, comes home again. And there'll be no despair, and all will be there, a hero's welcome for a trusted old friend. And we'll walk hand in hand, a heavenly band, when Brendan, our brother, comes home again.
Cheers.
Yep. Thank you all so much. Great night.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yep. Go Stags. Good night.
Stag for life, baby.
Yep.
Great job, Tom.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Tom. That was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you, Brendan. Good job, brother.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That's tonight. Thank you for putting this together.
See you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless, guys.
We love
You
the
know.
Looney family. Thank you.
Hey, Mary Jane, how are you?
Great Kevin. God bless you guys. I love you.
We love the Maloneys and the Harringtons even more.
Amen. God bless you guys.
Right.
Great stories, Kevin. Thanks for being a part of it.
Very nice, everybody. Very nice. Love y'all.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, Lenny.